my first. Okay, here's the first story. Kenneth Copeland, he has this daily TV show. He's kind of sitting around the table talking to some other dude, talking about. He starts talking about the Berlin Wall. That, and he starts talking about how people were praying speaking to the Berlin Wall, commanding it to fall, without there being any blood. Okay, and he said we're praying and praying and praying. And how did they get that idea to do that? Well, it turns out that people were smuggling Kenneth Copeland's books into Berlin, and that's so that's kind of, if Paul Harvey was still alive, God rest his soul, he would probably do the rest of the story about how the Berlin Wall actually fell. It was through one of Ken Copeland's books. Sorry, to me that's a miss.
So Kenneth Copeland is really responsible for the Berlin Wall falling.
Yes, absolutely. I never knew that.
Me neither. That's a miss.
Yeah. Okay, I would say we're under time. Go.
Oh wow. Oh, we might pull this off. Okay, this week, Bill. Apparently, there's last week there was a Father Benedict Rochelle, no relation, who made a statement and blaming certain child victims for pedophile priest issues.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And which, in and of itself, is just a miss. But then.
But he's saying some of the kids were kind of.
We're seducing priests that are having a rough time, and 14, 15, 16-year-olds, all that kind of stuff. Which is just, you just don't do that. I mean, even if you think it, you don't really share that stuff. But I mean, even if you think it, what are you thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bill Donahue, rather, he's the president of the Catholic League, issued a statement really supporting this guy, which. This is another one of those. You just don't do things, and the Catholic Church is having enough struggle, cleaning up this mess.
So now let's shift the blame to the victims.
Yeah, let's rally around our people and and protect them. So I look at that. That's just a mess. Total
mess. Cool. You're under time too. Man, we are breezing. Okay, here we go. My third one. This is probably really. This is probably my favorite story of the whole week. We always tease about sheep stealing and pastors stealing sheep from other churches. Well, there's this guy in Nigeria. His name is, I'm going to try this, Olarantobo Ibitoye, who was sentenced this past week to 9 months in prison for actually stealing a literal sheep.
Stealing a sheep, not
another church person. He actually stole this woman's sheep. They convicted him of stealing the sheep, and the judge gave him 9 months imprisonment without any option of a fine. So that's a miss and a hit for me. It's a miss for the pastor that stole the sheep. You can't make that kind of stuff up. For literally stealing a sheep, he had to think, well, I'm going to get on YouTube for this or something. But a miss for him, a hit for both the judge giving him 9 months in prison and for the comedic value of that.
I think I have to side with you on that, but I have a question. When it comes to the more figurative sheep stealing, what do you think the imprisonment is for that?
I think you pretty much get away scot-free on that one most of the time.
We need to change that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a stupid idea for down the road.
How many pastors would be in jail if they got 9 months for every sheep they stole?
Clear out the seminaries. We made time.
I hear the ding. Okay.
Okay.
Your turn, Matt. You're out.
Okay, file this in the bad news of the week file. Okay. Forbes story talks about caffeine, the silent killer of emotional intelligence. Now, we both know that caffeine is the drug of choice in the Christian community, and it's pretty much crack in a can. And the way what the story says is basically the rush that we get and the energy that we get from caffeine initially is related to our own caffeine withdrawal, and that there's absolutely no effect, and it just makes us more cranky with each other. So
shut up about the caffeine already, man.
Exactly. Todd's already cranking through his third or fourth cup. So
yeah, I'm drinking water this morning.
Yeah, sure you are. So this for me is not only a miss, but it's a miss of disastrous proportions that just really has the potential of ruining my life. What do you think?
I have gone off cold turkey caffeine probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and it was it's got to be like a precursor to what hell will be like. You've got the headaches, you've got the just literally not being able to stay awake hardly. You've got the grumpiness. Whew. You can tell I'm in a cheerful mood today. I've had some caffeine.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
What you got next?
Okay, well, I've got kind of an interesting story. Some of you may have seen some of Steven Anderson's videos on YouTube. He's kind of a fundamentalist Baptist preacher that he's so fundamentalist he won't even hang out with a lot of the fundamentalists because he's got it much righter than the other guys. But he posted this little video clip, or somebody did anyway, of him talking about I think he was a message about pornography, and he started talking about national. It started didn't reset my clock here. I get a little extra on this one. He started talking about National Geographic, and he made one of these cute little preacher puns. Instead of calling it National Geographic, he called it National Pornographic.
Oh,
and
boy.
Isn't that tricky? But he talked about how in this one school, how they go into the library, and every boy in that school, it seemed like, and he's not exaggerating here. He's told us he wasn't, so I know he's not. Every boy knew which issues and which pages had the nude pictures in them. That's why he called it National Pornographic. So he was talking about extolling the horrible, horrible thing about National Geographic. I put something on my blog and said, 1978, July, page 153. I remember it well, but I just thought it was a little silly. It's a miss for me. What do you think?
I only read National Geographic for the articles, but that's still a miss. Okay. Well, I don't think we've disagreed on anything yet. Maybe this next one we'll disagree on. I've got one that's and I think this is, if there's one that we'll disagree on, it's probably going to be this one. Oh boy.
Rick Joyner's another kind of evangelist. He's kind of out there for me anyway. But he has this video, and we'll link to it in the show notes, where he talks about these miracles. I'm totally goofing up on our timer here, but oh well. He keeps talking about these miracles of people who have their amputated limbs grow back. And he tells a story about this guy who had his finger cut off, and as the people were praying, his finger grew right in front of them. And it got all the way, everything except for the fingerprints, and people stopped praying, and so God healed everything but the fingerprint.
So that's how that works.
Yep, I guess.
You stop praying and it only
They
goes...
They had enough faith for the finger, but evidently they forgot and didn't continue on, and so God decided to stop there.
Wow. That's I can't say anything that's not going to get me fired right now. So that's a miss to me. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's a miss to me too. Miss to me too. Maybe we better move on. God. Let me go on record as saying God can do anything.
Yes.
Absolutely anything. But I wonder why He apparently chooses to do these miraculous things with people that just give me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know.
Well, maybe if they write a book about it, maybe if they write a book about it, they'll bring down some other country. Okay. Oh, perfect timing on the bell. Okay, let's go to politics. Yes. Maybe we can disagree on this. Did you hear about the Charlotte churches that were looking to create prayer baskets for, or welcome baskets for the representatives of the DNC?
Oh yes, I did hear about that. We talked about that in our
Yeah. So this was I thought this was pretty cool. It was a group of churches. They didn't want to put any. They weren't. It sounded like they weren't dropping tracts or going all chick lang on convention attenders. They're just putting together some candy and some notes and just offering assistance and, hey, this is where you can find this is where you can find that. If you need somebody, to talk to, or you need a ride, please give us a call, all that kind of stuff. Well, I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Apparently, the Democratic National Committee didn't so much like that idea, and they refused their generosity. Said, that's quite all right. We don't agree on the same thing, so we really don't need your assistance in this. Then the group went back and asked them, well, can we at least just give out informational letters that say, hey, this is where you can find all these different things in this new city. If you need a ride, if you need assistance, please let us know. And he said, no, absolutely not. So I look at this and I see it as a pretty as a hit from the church standpoint. Like I said, as far as I can tell, they're not doing the turn or burn and hanging out on the street corner thing. But from the Democratic National Convention or Committee side, I just see that as a miss. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you on that. I think it was not unexpected from the political side, but no, I give my hats off to those Charlotte churches that have come together, and they actually did a lot of other things too, as far as prayer meeting and bringing the community together to pray for everything that's going to be going on. So I think it's a big hit for the Christian community in Charlotte. Good job.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, there's no easy segue to this, but here's my next one. In the UK, every year, there's a group that does a big advertising campaign for the Christmas season for churches, and this year they have like a big picture of this doll, and we'll link to it here in the show notes.
Yes.
So it's got a big picture of a baby doll that's supposed to be Jesus, and the headline says, "He cries, he wheezes, he saves the world." And it's
wait. You need to say that again, please.
Yeah, it says he cries, he wheezes, and he saves the world. And it's a picture of this little baby
Talk
doll.
about fully man.
Yes, fully man. So the question is whether it's a hit or a miss. I think it's a hit, okay? And I'll probably take some hits for saying that it's a hit. But I think in the UK especially, where they're even much more secular in their society than what we are, I forget what the percentage was. I was going to look it up, and then I forgot. Maybe I can find it here. But they said that it said 42% of the people that are seeing these ads in past years, this is the fourth year they've done it, 42% of the people seeing those church ads said that it made them think more about the true meaning of Christmas, which in a secular society I don't think is a bad thing. So, I mean, we'll link to the ad. You can take a look at it and see whether you think it's a hit or miss. But for the UK, I would say it would be a hit.
When I first saw this, I was scared to death that this thing was going to be an actual doll that you'd see in like Christian crap art.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah.
And so I was like, "What is he thinking? This is a definite miss." But I don't know the UK culture, so were this to happen in America, I would say it was a definite miss. But I will I will yield to your wisdom within UK culture.
Yeah, well,
I just don't know.
Lesson 1. This is only episode 3, Matt, but you never yield to my wisdom. Don't. That'll get you nowhere.
But you had the smarter idea on the stupid idea of the week today. What are you talking about?
I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got another. You got a hit or a miss?
I got a hit actually. Just saw just kind of stumbled across a church in Akron that's starting to do new services. It's called Christ United Methodist Church. They're doing new services for children with special needs. Have a bunch of friends in the special needs community that that have just kind of shared stories of how lonely the church can be. Because most churches just aren't really equipped or prepared to work with people in the special needs community, and how many people are just spiritually unresolved because of the lack of community that really understands what's going on with their kids and what's going on within their family. And so, I don't know anything about Christ United Methodist, other than that they're looking to do this. And so I give them a big hit for that.
Yep, I do too. I don't have anything else to say about that other than hats off to you guys for doing something that's difficult and something that, quite frankly, nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
So good,
Yeah.
good for you. I saw an article in I think it was over Charisma News this week about a group that I've never heard of. Maybe again just because they're maybe not in the tribe that I run with most of the time, but it's a group called Big Life Ministries.
Hmm.
And according to this article, since they started in the year 2000, so they're about 12 years old. I'm just going to forget about the clock because I keep forgetting to redo it, but we're almost done here anyway. The So they're about 11 or 12 years old, but they claim to have planted 7,000 churches, which I think is just amazing. And some of the most difficult parts of the world. They've done some stuff in India. They've done a lot of stuff in the Middle East. But 7,000 churches to start in really hard places. Don't know anything else about them, but from what I could tell from this Charisma News article, it's a real hit. Hats off to you guys. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It says they're working in the 1040 window, and 90,000 former Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists have accepted Christ. Hey man, you can't argue with that.
No,
So,
no. Well, some people can, but I'm not going to.
yeah, it's not going to be you.
No, not going to be me.
Last one, and I just saw this last night, but there's kind of big church news in Pennsylvania. LCBC, Lives Changed by Christ Church, which is kind of focused in the Lancaster area and spread out, going multi-site all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And Branch Creek Church, which is northeast, or northwest, I believe, of Philadelphia and Harleysville, have recently announced a merger. And
Really?
this isn't one of those mergers like one church is kind of fading off or anything like that. I mean, Branch Creek is a church of like 2,500, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how large of a church LCBC is. So I mean, this is not one of those types of mergers, but this sounds like two healthy churches that are really killing it, that are coming together to expand God's kingdom as opposed to their kingdoms. And so I was pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this and how they handle this merger, because those are never easy.
No, that's great. I give that a big hit too. Especially when it's not forced upon them, or it's not like a rescue mission or something. I think we're going to see a lot more church mergers in the future.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my friend Warren Burgess wrote a book on church transitions and mergers. I'll put a plug in for that here. But from all of his research, it's really starting to become more and more commonplace. And mergers are tough, but I think we're going to see more and more of them.